Good afternoon, everybody. I think we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Gail Fagan. I'm the Program Manager for Research Development, and OSP and Research Development are super happy to have Alex with us to present GrantForward. It's a great tool for graduate students, postdocs, and faculty to help them find targeted funding. So with that, Alex, do you want to go ahead and take it away?
Thank you. Thanks, Gail. Welcome, everyone. My name is Alex. No, actually, my name is Mr. GrantForward. Today, I will be demonstrating and show you how to use GrantForward to move your research forward. Welcome to the University of Illinois, because this tool was actually created by academics like you at the State University of Illinois. We are located in Urbana-Champaign. It has been developed at our university since 1980s and only becoming modernized a few years ago. We are happy to work with Cornell University and many others to actually continue to receive your feedback and improve this tool. And my purpose of today's webinar is to not only show you how GrantForward can help you to find a grant, which is definitely important for moving our research forward. Every research starts with money. Okay, well, money starts anything, including research. Okay, we also hope to receive your feedback and hearing about your questions. Okay, good. So I'm doing screen sharing. Okay, so I'm sharing screen here. You should see my browser open. I'm opening my browser here with GrantForward because GrantForward is a service online. You can access it from anywhere, from your computer, from your phone, from your tablet. You can access from your campus computer or your home or when you are traveling. Okay, I'm also opening this welcome guide. This is a document, a few pages that show you the key steps of using GrantForward, which will be basically an outline of our demonstration today. Okay, I will show you how to create an account so that GrantForward can do something tailored specifically for you as a researcher with your specific research interest. How you can do keyword search, how you can add more powerful filters so that you wouldn't be overwhelmed by thousands of grants to the extent you think there is too much money, why I cannot get one, okay? Powerful filters and creating your profile and receiving grant recommendations. This is very important. Most people think that they can look for grants. They are aware of this because they do web search all the time, every day, but they may not know that in fact it's much easier because you are busy, because you are not looking for grants actively all the time. You should be receiving information about grants around your research interest. That's recommendation. And in my opinion, it's more important than grant search. Okay, so this will be the outline and also it's your handout. Okay, for after this webinar, you can use this as a reference. But let me show you how to use GrantForward. Starting from very beginning, create an account. So I'm going to create an account here, which is pretty easy. You come to GrantForward, you click on grantforward.com. That's the only thing you need to know. You click on sign up. Then you enter your name, my name at the Cornell, the edu. You will show the domains that have these, the institutions that have this domain. You click on Cornell University. Okay, you can also enter your department. Okay, so fill in your name, my name, enter your password, and of course you enter it twice. Okay, select your department, and then you can also select your user type. So GrantForward is a tool to be used not only for grown-ups, which means full-time researchers like most of you, but also for, well, undergraduates and graduate students who are looking for research-oriented internship or fellowship, scholarship. So by indicating your user type, you will the GrantForward system will tailor the research filter setting to more matching your status. This will become clear later when I show you how to use filters. So clicking on Create My Account, you will receive an email in your inbox to validate that you have entered a correct email address, and then you have an account. So I already have an account, so I won't do that again. But the benefit of having an account is so that GrantForward has a place to remember everything about you, including your saved search. You can save a search so you can receive a new result, including your profile, recommendation, and also the grant list that you have built to share with others. Okay, so let me log in. I'm using a real account from our university. I'm located in Urbana, Champaign.
May I ask a question?
Please.
I was just wondering, what does default mean as a user type?
Oh, default, it means that there is no specialization. So it wouldn't change any filter. All the filter will be open. You set it. Okay. We can in fact also add more user type. Okay, such as postdoc. Okay, if your grant office work with us to tailor this. Okay, good question. So now I'm logging in here with my account or with a real account of a professor at the university. He is a computer science professor. I will use his scenario just to be real. Okay, so I should admit I have to pay attention to the waiting room here because there are people in the waiting room. Okay, good. Okay, so now let me continue here. So I log in. So now the benefit of having an account, in addition to knowing everything about you, it's also that you can use it from anywhere at home, okay, or from the hotel when you are traveling, when we start to travel again. So let me quickly walk through GrantForward at a very high level. Okay, so GrantForward aims to support your entire pre-award process, which means before money is wired into your account. Okay, so therefore it's not just grant, although grant definitely is the most important thing. So all the different aspects of GrantForward are listed clearly at the top here. Okay, as the different tab. I will walk through them one by one before I focus zooming into grants. So first, you have grants. Grant means future funding opportunities, or it means money. Okay, money, if you are writing a proposal, apply for that, you will get it. So without any, let me reset to default, without any search condition here, with default only open and continuous. This means active grants. There are 24,000 grants. Okay, I can do search. I can receive recommendation. I will come back to grants. This is often the main purpose of people coming to GrantForward. This is also a common function that all the grant databases are providing. Okay, and beyond this, everything else is actually unique in GrantForward. So what else do we need? Let's come to this next tab called awards. What does award mean? It means funded project. When you are considering a grant call, for example, if you are a computer science professor, you are doing something about maybe big data. Okay, so you see a grant call about big data, then you are wondering, what awards have been funded? What kind of topics are fundable? Because you're wondering what actually sponsors are looking for. What topics can I get inspired? Okay, so you can just search for this. You see, without entering this search yet, actually, let me remove this. Okay, there are one followed by 6-digit, 1.3 million funded project in the past. Well, in the past 2 decades that we have indexed here. So now you are wondering how people are getting award about, say, big data. So you search it, you see all these grants about big data from big data program, or the title including big data. So you can see this one is 2016, is 82K. This is not a lot. This is 300K, this is more. You wonder what grant got the most money, or maybe they start with starting date. So what are the recent projects funded? This one.
From Veracred Solutions LLC.
Say again. Okay, so here I'm ordering by start date here. So you see this one is to start actually next year, March 15, 2022. So this is fairly recent, it's in the future. This is October this year, okay? You can also order by award amount. That you might be wondering how much money people are getting for researching about big data. It's indeed big money is 300 million. It ended 2011. Okay, you can search for different keywords such as cancer. The keywords cancer, you see what kind of topic on cancer. I have no idea what CABIC cancer knowledge means. Okay, well, we don't know, but these are experts who are getting money to research this. So in fact, we have seen some very creative use of this function. We created this function because of feedback from the sponsor program offices. Like yours, okay, they are wondering how they can, tell their researchers what kind of topics have been funded. Okay, but we are actually seeing quite creative usage. People are using this to find experts. They thought that the PI, PI who is getting grants on cancer, perhaps are experts in this area. So you can use that to find the collaborators. You can use that to find even reviewers. We as scholars often have trouble to find the reviewers to review a proposal, to review a paper. Okay, well, this is where this might be useful. So this is awards. Next, let me come to sponsors. Okay, GrantForward, surprising, is also the only service that actually provide you an A to Z list. Actually, 1 to Z, starting from one-on-one lesson. The 1 to Z list of sponsors, which means organizations, agencies, companies that give out the money to sponsor research. Okay, so here, so one-on-one research, 10,000 degree, okay, 100 women charitable foundation. Click on each one, you see the information about it. You can click on go to sponsor website. Okay, you can see more information about this sponsor. In this case, it's a foundation and it has applied for a grant. It is the presence of a sponsor on the internet like this that enable us to discover their existence and therefore bring them into our database so that you see all the sponsors here, and we will keep monitoring their available grants and provide that to you. So I say it's A to Z list, 1 to Z. Let's go the way to the Z part. They are total together 15,000. So this one is Zurich University of Applied Sciences. Okay, this is a Z part. You can look for, say, sponsored by name, say National Science. National Science Foundation, a big sponsor, and you can see all its grants, 615. You can also look at all its sub-organization. So for example, if you are like this account owner doing computer science, you might be interested in the Directorate of Computer and Information Science and Engineering. It has 58 grant, it has more sub-sponsors, okay, such as this division of computer and network systems, and so on. You can also look at them by name. If you are doing cancer-related research, okay, you might be surprised there are actually 100+ sponsors that are related to your research area. Many sponsors, especially the more specialized ones, they have very specific mission. Therefore, following a sponsor is often a good idea, a sponsor in your research area. I will show you how you can do sponsor focused search later. But here, you can learn about what sponsors are relevant in your research area. You may know about, well, if you are doing cancer research, you may know about American Cancer Society, but I bet you may not have knowledge about American Italian Cancer Foundation, which is one grant. Okay, so this is search sponsor by name in the keywords. You can also look at sponsors by their type. federal state, this means government, is less than 300 among our 15,000. So yes, that's why you need to go beyond grants.gov, because grants.gov only index the federal state part, actually only federal, not even state. And we have a lot of state coverage. We especially pay attention to the states where our subscribing institutions are present. You can look at foundations. This is very important part for people working on life sciences, social sciences, humanity. Okay, there are more than 8,000 foundations. These are bigger foundations that have well-defined, publicized funding programs, such as Gates Melinda Foundation is one example. You can look at companies, corporate. These are companies such as 3M, 23andMe, academic. Many universities also have their funding program. International. So GrantForward focus on US institutions. However, the funding can come from anywhere in the world. If their headquarters are not in US, they are classified as international. Okay, good. So it's good to know about where money comes from. Okay, sponsors. And this is also our secret recipe to make sure we actually have very good coverage. In our benchmark, we compare to our competitors. We found our grant coverage is surprisingly 5 to 10 times across different kinds of keywords. We couldn't think about any reason other than one, perhaps, because we make our sponsor directory very transparent. And in fact, our users know exactly what we cover and what we do not cover. We can never be perfect. No one is 100%. But with this, we are able to receive feedback about their favorite sources that we should add. We will often add that in the same day, second day. So please feel free to suggest us if you see some sponsors in the area you are working on that we have not covered. Okay, next, and surprisingly, GrantForward is also a database of researchers. So you can view researchers within your institution or GrantForward across all institutions if they make their profile public. Here, 12,000 researchers have made their profiles public. The default is private. So this is perhaps only a fraction. Okay, I will show you how to create your profile easily in 3 to 5 minutes. There will be the what we will show later. But let's look at some example. So let me look at Cornell University. So I took a look earlier. There are 99 profiles from Cornell that are public. Okay, I'm not sure altogether how many there are, but there should be more. So now we have about 50 attendants on the list. I hope that after this meeting, there will be 140. If my math is correct, 150 actually, and you can all make it public. So I know that you have created your profile. So what is a profile? A profile is anything that describes a researcher. Here it's a PhD student, okay, postdoc, associate, assistant professor. Let's look at this assistant professor's profile. So we know he is in Department of Computer Science. In fact, it will be clear if you look at his keyword: robot manipulation, object properties, human interaction. All of these, okay, may not make sense to many of us, but they are dear to this researcher's heart. Okay, this describes his research, machine learning, and he has been doing research from 96 to 2021 here. And all these keywords are derived, not entered by hand, from his publications. And this is the list of his publication all the way to 2020. And he did not have to enter these publications by hand, unlike our competing services. There, you have to enter your publications one by one. Not only one by one, but also field by field, title, and then author, the year. That's the kind of situation you will regret that you have published too many or too much, okay? So he simply, in this case, users simply tell us where to find his publication. In this case, it's a Google Scholar. Okay, so he simply tell us where to find, and we will collect all the publications and even keep them up to date and derive the keywords. And these keywords are really the intuitive leverage that we use to generate the recommendation to users. Let me show you an example. So I'm coming to my inbox here. Okay. So here, I'm looking at this recommendation. It says, dear user, thanks for using GrantForward, blah, blah. In the last month, 2,600 opportunities were added, and among them, we recommend the following to you. And then a list of recommendations. And you will notice, okay, every grant has keyword highlighted, such as database management, social networking, software, social networks. Clearly, this is for someone who is doing social computing, database, data management. So the researcher receiving this grant will understand this is not a spam. In fact, monthly, we send out about 40, 50,000 of emails like this. And some other emails were sent weekly or daily, even daily. I will show you how to set that. But no one complained that these are spam because of all these keywords highlighted.
Just go to Apple website.
Maybe
you don't have any specific way.
Okay, please mute when you are not asking questions. Okay, good. So I want to compare what is this. Let me show you a comparison. So I'm coming to my inbox again at my university. And this is the kind of things you perhaps have received as a professor, as a researcher all the time. This is called the, well, newsletter from Office of Research in our College of Engineering. Okay, it has a list of grant and also announcement like career grant. And this is a funding opportunity list, another kind of grant. So we receive such recommendation all the time. A professor perhaps in average receive 2 or 3 from different offices, and compiling such a list often is also a burden, a routine task for specialists working in, say, the Office of Sponsored Programs or Research Development. You know, they have a lot of efforts doing all this. But you may not read all these recommendations because, well, they may not be all relevant to you. A newsletter like this could be compiled maybe for a college, in this case, or a department. It can never be compiled for each individual. And that's what our grant recommendation aim to be. Okay, here it's compiled for you with keywords highlighted. And keyword highlighted, you can even adjust the keywords. I will show you how to do that because of the profile built here. I will show you how to build this profile. But let's look at more examples. Okay, let's look at this example. Another assistant professor, optic sensor, fiber optic, looks like is in electrical engineering. She also gives a publication page to find the publications. Let's look at more example. Okay, so in this case, she simply actually copy and paste publication. Okay, this is another way. Copy and paste some citation text, and then GrantForward will extract it. Let me look for another example. This one. The professor here, he also has a lot of keywords in artifact heart, medical devices. Okay, so here, he simply uploaded his CV. Okay, so there are many different ways. Okay, I will show you how to do this. But remember, if you create your profile, then you will be able to receive very personalized grant recommendation, just like a newsletter compiled specifically for you. And people also use this to actually find collaborators. We have also other larger universities working with us. They actually use this as their sort of like expert search to present the expert talent in their university. Okay, so this is researcher. I will not talk about the administrator council. This is something that only people, specialists in the grant office will care about. You can use this, for example, to create a newsletter. It's a new function. I just said earlier that a newsletter like this, okay, from our College of Engineering, this is taking a lot of effort to create, okay, and we are automating something like this as a function that grant specialists could use to easily create, select grant list and build share the list of grants and publish a newsletter, okay, to any department, any college, or any ad hoc group of researchers. In a separate webinar, we can discuss that, but this is administrator only function. Support here, we have a lot of useful support material, okay, guides such as the welcome guide I'm using today, and tools for administrators, such as even an outline of scripts like this for doing webinar or other recorded webinar, okay. But let me come back to the very first tab. Your research starts much earlier than grant. It starts from when sponsors had this idea to publish a grant. So that's called the pre-solicitation. GrantForward is also the only service that provides this function. Again, due to the feedback we received from our friends in sponsor programs, they would like their researcher to stay ahead of the game, which means before a grant is even announced. Okay, so for example, this one is a grant education system strengthening some RFI. It was posted 4 days ago, fairly recent. If you are looking at a specific topic like cancer, doing a search, okay, this one was posted March 31. This is notice of intent to publish. Okay, this is a very typical kind of pre-solicitation. It says that we are going to publish. We have this intent of a new grant, and it's not finalized yet. But we understand the community needs to know about this early because it takes a lot of time to prepare a solid proposal. Okay, so you have all these, and there are other kinds of announcements coming from sponsors, such as holding a workshop to discuss funding directions, such as request input, or answering questions about specific coming funding programs. Good. So now I would like to come to the grants part. Okay, and also I'm monitoring the text chat. I know most of you are muted. Thank you. Okay, so but if you have any question, just put on the chat text to me or to everyone, and I will answer that. Good. So now I'd like to zoom into the grants part because, well, other things are important, but grant perhaps is the ultimate purpose. We want to get funding for doing our research. How much does this service cost? Okay, I just got this question from the text. It costs you nothing if you have a cornell.edu email address because the sponsor program office pay for that, and I just checked that they are up to date on their payment, so it's free for you. Okay, but if you are interested in doing advertisement for us, we rely on word of mouth. Okay, this is our price. Surprisingly, GrantForward is also the only service that make the price transparent. We know scholars are not good at negotiating. No, with us, everything is quite honest and transparent. Yeah, so depending on the size of the university, you can pay as little as 2,000 all the way to maybe 5,000. Okay, so this is how we scale up the pricing, but it's not purpose today. It's free for you. Okay, come back to here, grants. You want to get money, okay? So there are two ways. One is to search. This is something that is becoming the standard technique of our living today. We all do web search a few times a day. We do that in our browser, okay? This is also very important. I will show you. However, our philosophy is that you shouldn't be doing search all the time. In fact, we don't want you to come to GrantForward unless you are really actively looking for a grant specifically for a topic you are starting. In other cases, when you are not actively looking for grant, you should be informed about the funding landscape. You should be doing recommendation. I will talk about these two kinds. So let's start with search. Okay, search is very intuitive. You have a specific direction, or well, you have a specific topic. Okay, I will use the scenario of a computer science professor who is interested in, well, he's in his middle age. He wanted to do something a little bit different. So he is interested in life sciences to see how he can broaden his impact. So he is looking something they can do maybe with medical, with other, other domains. So he will be starting with keyword life sciences. I'm starting purposely with very broad keywords. Okay, why? Because as you know, a grant often has a relatively broad scope. You don't want to use too specific keywords like a disease or diabetes. Okay, use broader keywords like life sciences. I will show you how you can narrow down to your specific interest. In this case, okay, so I have a question about newsletter. Okay, so I will talk about this along the way, how a specialist like in OSP could actually create the newsletter and share this. I will put that into my demonstration here. You will see that. Thank you. Okay, so here I'm now this researcher is interested in fact, data science, social media. Okay, he's the kind of computer scientist. So now he starts with life sciences. I'm doing a search, narrow it down from 25,000 to 4,000, a very big number. But you shouldn't be surprised because life science is a very big topic. It's, well, I think we all realize this after COVID-19, how important life sciences is, even we are not doing life sciences. Okay, so it should have a large amount. So you may worry, okay, you get too much money. 4,000, you worried, you are overwhelmed. Well, if your solution is go to other search, such as other alternative search, they will give you only 500 or 600. Okay, but you won't be happy because as soon as you start to add some filter, you will see them coming to zero. There is no money there. That's why you want to start with a big number like this. Okay, so now you see, you look at the result here. It's a ranked list of, in this case, all active grant, because my default filter is open, which means grants, they are still looking for receiving applications, and the deadline is in the future, like July 20th. Well, we still have 3 months to write our grant. Or continuous, this means grants have no specific deadline. Okay, it will close in the future, but it's always receiving application. It's first come, first reviewed. If you are special, you may look for closed grants because you are specialist. You know grants often come in cycles. A grant that was expired in January last year may come up again soon. Okay, so we index grants that are expired, and there are 8,000 of these in the past 18 months. But these are excluded, and you can control them. So the default is open and continuous active grants. So we have 4,000 active grants. Okay, now you can look through this list. Each grant that it has a deadline. Of course, we all care about deadline. We all work. Our work is all driven. Our hormone is all driven by deadlines. June 16th, this is only 2 months. We start to get excited. Okay, and its amount is 1,500, not so much. Okay, the deadline. Okay, if there are more deadline, this is how this will be different. Eligibility, who can apply for this, must be an undergraduate. Submission info, you have to write an application form and so on. This is a quick summary. Okay, you don't have to click into the detail unless you are interested in it. Here, you can look into more description and also say which sponsor. And here is from a company. You can click on the link to visit the sponsor page. As we explained earlier, you can go to the sponsor website to read about its specific interest, specific mission, okay? So that you can write something matching what they want. Okay, so you can also share this. You can You can share this through email. You can add a tag here. I will show this in the page here. Okay, so you see, if you are interested in this grant, now you can build your list. You can add a tag. Okay, I say this is newsletter for next month. Okay, this is how you can build newsletter, starting from build select grant and build the list. You may be working with a collaborator called Professor Ken. So this is also for him. So now I'm building list. Okay, I can use existing list. I can add a new list, add a new tag. Okay, this is Cornell University list. And I give it a color. Okay, a green color. I think your color is red. Okay, anyway, so here. And then now I can come to my favorite text part. Okay, so here you can see that you have a lot of lists. I have a lot of lists because I'm doing demo all the time. So here, the newsletter list have 4 grants. Okay, grants for Jeff. Okay, and so on. And I can export each list. Okay, I can export in CSV file or PDF file if you want to send as email attachment. Okay, for example, I export this. So this is the email. This is the PDF exported. You can share this as email attachment. Okay, of course, you can also do other ways such as export as CSV file. So let me go back to my search. Okay, you will also see here that the GrantForward remind you of viewed 2 minutes ago, okay, or viewed 1 month ago. When you are desperate for grants, and we all have that experience, you are doing search a few times a day, a few times a month. It is nice to be reminded you have already looked at this grant, okay? Or you can even exclude 1 grant from your consideration because you have already viewed, considered it. It has been shortlisted. Okay, good. So these are all nice features we have learned from our users to make their search process more efficient, productive. And you build up your list, and this can share with your other collaborators easily or your members of the institution. Okay, so now I want to show how we can further narrow down. You are only using life sciences, you get 4,000 hits. Okay, so now I want to start to narrow down. I say this is a computer scientist who is interested in doing life sciences, and his real interest in, well, his more specialized interest is in social media, in data science, and in maybe patient communication. So now we see that this is not a real doctor. This is a computer scientist want to look for life sciences topic. Okay, but he didn't start with all this because this will be very specialized. Okay, and the default was actually all of the keywords. Life sciences must appear. The additional ones are any of the keywords, optional, the more, the better. So if you are coming from library science, you perhaps will realize that this is what people call the conjunction, the and, the disjunction, the any, and this one will be the negation, none. If you are like me, due to your high school memory, you have sworn that you never do chemistry again. So you do this. Okay, now we do a search. It narrowed down to 3,200. You see, your high school nightmare cost you 800 grants. So let's remove that. Okay, so it goes back to 4,000 again. Still are all life sciences grant, but the ranking is very different. The keywords here are communication, social media, patient education, okay, community, and so on. So this is how you can tailor the ranking to your interest without having to sacrifice. Okay, but if you enter none here, you will be excluded from your search. Okay, so yeah, so this is how you do keyword, and people found this very easy to use. This all, any, none, and we think it's quite simple and it's sufficiently powerful. But now, keywords are only topical. You care about grants not just because of its topic. Okay, let me show some example here. You may say, I am not I'm not a kid. I'm a grown up. I don't care about scholarship. That's already 20 years ago. But GrantForward is used by many undergraduate and graduate students as well. Okay, but this is why you need to do filtering. Okay, or you say this is training. This is about courses. Okay, you are interested in research oriented. So that's why you need to use filter. Okay, we have questions such as eligibility. Okay, that's why we need to use filter here. The filters are very friendly, conveniently laid out in the left-hand side here. When we don't need them, they are not scary. But when we need them, they are very handy. Now, the first filter I need is grant type. I want to say, I don't care about fellowship, scholarship, dissertation. I care about this 15 years ago, but not anymore. I done my dissertation long ago. Okay, I don't care about internship. I like research project, so I do a plus. This means the research project will be ranked much higher. So there are different kinds of grants, and the research project is one kind. Training course is another kind, so I don't want it. I don't care about travel, let's leave it here. I don't want to do workshop, conference, that's not my purpose. Postdoc, okay, I'm not a postdoc here. Okay, so I'm doing all this narrowing. Now I get 800, 987. You will be happy you started with 4,000. Okay, so these are grant type. You may want to say, no, my mom told me I should be ambitious. So I'm looking for grants that are sizable, let's say more than $500,000. Okay, we're close, 490K. So these are grants that are big enough for my taste, for my stomach. Okay, but they are 800. You want to get busy for the summer. Okay, now we are in the middle of spring. So there's the grant that will be due soon. So we say that grants that they will be due starting beginning of June, all the way to the end of summer. Okay, here our summer is not very long, August 31st. Okay, so I get 167. Okay, so you can keep adding other filter. You ask about eligibility. There are all kinds of eligibility. We have tried to add as many as we could. Some common eligibility kind of thing. For example, applicant type. You might be a special type of applicant that are often recognized. You say, I'm not an undergraduate. Okay, I'm not a graduate student. I am an early career. I'm proud. I am young. These are things like career grant, young investigator. Okay, or if you are senior. Okay, I'm not sure one can be both. Or you have other status such as women disability or other often classified status. Okay, so now you will see that these grants are tailored to your selected applicant type here. You can also look at, for example, citizenship. Okay, you can select from the citizenship here. Okay, one thing is applicant location. Some grants have specific restriction to, for example, only people from Florida, okay, can apply. That's called the applicant location. Some grants have specific restrictions, say it has to be performed in the New York City. Say it's some sort of community or disease survey. It has to be investigated only in the New York City. So that's called the activity location. And either way, it's pretty easy to specify. So to specify applicant location, I can simply click on this map bubble. It knows that I am from, well, my home institution is in Champaign, Illinois. So I just click enter. So Champaign will be here. I can select more. I say I'm also affiliated with Indiana, Iowa. These are my neighboring states. You can apply from them as well. Okay, so include. Okay, so now do not include and specified. So these are 39 grants. Okay, here 4 grants that are specifically restricting to the places I can apply from these 3 states. Okay, good. So I want to conclude with a scenario we learned from our users. So let me reset everything to default. Let me enter multiple sponsor. I'm searching for National Science Foundation, Gates Building, Gates Melinda Foundation, an American Cancer Society. We see our users enter as many as 10, 20, 30 without any keywords. They do a search, they get 350. Okay, these are grants coming from these 3 sponsors. And then they save a search. Okay, did I mention you can save a search? So this is my sponsor for life sciences. You can give it a frequency, say every Monday. Tell you the next time will be April 26th. So with this, you will be notified. And let me come to my example here again. Not this one. This other inbox. So here I have this alert saying, dear user, okay, you have one saved search called biochemistry. Okay, and these are the grants. So every Monday you will receive such an alert to the saved search you have set up to remind you of a new result. So really, you don't need to come to GrantForward every day. You just need to set up your saved search for each project you are going, okay, or for each group of faculty you work with. Then you will be informed of new grants. In this case, you are actually monitoring the new grants coming from these 3 sponsors, supposed to be your favorite sponsors. Good. So now I want to come to recommendation. I can be brief here because I've shown you examples. This is the recommendation page. It looks kind of similar to the search page that we came from. Okay, it has all these search results, except that the highlighting are a lot more keywords, like COVID-19, okay, community, and communicate, models, development, okay. So all of these, the researcher couldn't have entered so many keywords in his search box. He did not. In fact, this is because of his research interest, data science, okay, web content mining, proximity embedding, curriculum development. Okay, from 1996 all the way to 2021, you can look at the change of his research interest 10 years ago, relation extraction, web sources, sort of similar but different, and all the way to 20 years ago when he started his research career. Okay, so it's because of this profile of research keywords that allow us to actually understand a researcher and provide a recommendation. Okay, so this is what recommendation means. As I have shown you, the end result is you see a recommendation list, you know, essentially a personalized newsletter with keywords that you care highlighted. And we have a question here. Can we actually tailor the recommended grants furthermore? Yes, you can tailor grants furthermore by adding keywords or adjusting keywords. I will show you how to do that when we get there. For example, this COVID-19, this researcher did not have publication on COVID-19. In fact, he did not know about COVID-19 before 2019, but he added this keyword because, well, this now becomes something very important to do research about. Okay, so you can adjust the keywords. You can also specify filters, just like your search. And this researcher gives something very similar to the scenario we did earlier. He only wanted to be recommended if the grant is, you know, more than $500,000. If the grant is about research project, and if the grant is for senior researcher, he just realized he's now senior. Okay, so this is a recommendation. Yes, you can tailor in all these different ways. So now let's see how do we edit a profile, create. I show you some example profile from Cornell earlier, and these are all built by the users themselves in a process like this, about 5 minutes. It's only 3 steps. Each step takes about 2 minutes. The first step, fill in your name, title, department. 2 minutes, maybe overestimate. Next step is the most tedious, but even the most tedious shouldn't take more than 3 minutes. So you specify where the system can find your research interest, the interest source, by specifying, well, a publication web page. We see earlier people specify an URL of Google Scholar, or upload a CV in PDF, or manually. This might sound the most scary. Let's try this. What does manual mean? Okay, so if you have some text like this, for example, you are working with a professor, you are looking for grants for him, you can copy and paste like this. You put here, that's it. That's called publication text or manual input. It's as easy as this. But you may have a page like this where you compile your publications. Most scholars have this. You can simply copy and paste your URL, select, specify a web page, and copy and paste. You recognize this is your personal homepage. You will also recognize other kinds of pages like a Google Scholar. We have seen example, PubMed. In PubMed, you can enter a search with your name as author name. Then you get a list of your publication, or ORCID or others. Okay, and we will be happy to add other sources if you use other sources to manage your publication. But the point here is that you don't have to enter your publication one by one, field by field. You can even tell GrantForward to update every 3 months, well, every 6 months. It's about the speed that you generate new publications. You can edit the keywords. Say you are not doing relation extraction anymore. There was your, interest when you were young. Okay, you can add new keywords. Like in this case, he added the COVID-19. You add new keywords for area you want to get into. Okay, or for the research interest of your collaborators, because you are looking for grants for them. Okay, so this is the second step. The third step, you simply enter more information like education, biography, upload a nice picture, set your profile. The default is private. No one except those in the same institution can view your profile, or public, which means even Google can crawl it and search it. And you set your recommendation email frequency to monthly if you are looking for grants, weekly if you are actively looking for grants, and every day at 8 o'clock if you are desperate for grants. Okay.
I have a question on this. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So, thank you very much for the awesome presentation. I just wonder how much of this profile is shared by people who don't have GrantForward accounts.
If you set it as private, then only members of your institution can view it.
What about if I choose like public, but a person who doesn't have GrantForward account, can they still see or access?
Yes, they can still view the profile.
Okay.
In fact, you can actually embed your keyword cloud into your homepage. And if people are searching, they will see the profile if Google does a good job, and they often do.
Okay, thank you very much. It's going awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so now I'm done with profile editing. That's it. With this as the end result, you will see many researchers, okay, like this. They have created their profile. So I see a lot of students here, graduate students. These are examples from Cornell. You should build your profile so that you can receive personalized grant recommendation. Okay, so that's all I want to say today. Okay, GrantForward support you the entire pre-award process, from not only grant, but also the announcement before grant, and also what kind of projects are getting funded, where money came from, and other researchers. You can search grant actively with keywords by setting filters. You can also receive recommendation of grants along your research interest, and to be informed. You may even shape your research direction accordingly. Okay, if you are a grant specialist in the OSP office, research development, we would invite you to get in touch with us. We are to show you how you can actually have a lot of other functions, such as you can create a newsletter. I keep mentioning this. I see a question here. This is a new function we just have released earlier this month. Okay, so you can actually create a different user group, and then you can create a new newsletter. Okay, in an easy way by creating a template and then fill in the grant list. I'll be happy to show you that. So now we have a few more minutes. I'd like to see if you have any questions in addition to those that have been asked. Okay, so I see a question here. How often do we get a new grant from our database? Good question. I have not shown you this, but if you click on the GrantForward logo here, you'll come to the home page. It shows you basically the big picture, including researchers in your same institution. These are researchers in my same institution, but maybe for your purpose here, the question here, you see GrantForward shows you the new sponsors. This was added, Office of Local Defense Community Cooperation. This is added 14 hours ago. Added 2 days ago, this David something law firm, okay? And the new grant opportunities 7 hours ago, 7 hours ago. So these are new grants. So, and then these are distribution of grants. So yeah, so basically GrantForward is updating all the time because it's basically a search engine in the grant domain, and it monitor the sources and add new information. It's why you don't have to do all this tedious work. Okay. How can you exclude things from auto search, the recommended grant? Okay, you cannot. That's a good question here. So the question here is about in the recommendation, are you able to exclude grants? For example, if you are very determined, you don't want to do anything about chemistry, can you exclude grants with that keyword? Okay, no, you cannot. We don't have that interface here. I think that's a good question. Let me try this. No, you don't have that. Yeah, but we don't have this. Yeah. Okay, so I got one more question here. Can you export your profile as your CV kind of thing? Yes, I believe that is possible. Let me see. My profile. You can come to my profile, and from here you can export it. It can be in CSV, XML, or JSON. Okay, so we understand the data is belonging to users, so you can export all these. So for example, this will be a way to export all your publications if you like, but we also understand that this is limited. So we are actually working on making the export format to be able to support something of some more standard format, such as NIH format or NSF 2 or 3 pages format. Yes, there will be something coming in the future, but not right now. For now, you can all export the data in all these standard data format, like a CSV or JSON. Is it worth the time to remove all grants that I'm not interested in so that the system learns the grants that do not apply to me? No, the system does not have this ability to receive your feedback at the tailor yet. In fact, we were debating about whether that kind of learning is useful and should we do that. It, of course, has its advantage, but we also hear a lot of positive comment about keyword-based recommendation. So here, our philosophy is that you know exactly why a grant, say, come to recommendation. You know exactly why a grant is recommended to you because of all these keywords. So it's pretty transparent. it's also pretty controllable in the sense that you can adjust the keywords. If you see curriculum development here, you say, no, I'm no longer interested in this. You can simply remove this by editing your profile. So this is the way you exclude the grant of certain topic. Okay, but right now we don't have the automatic learning. Our thinking is that this is more transparent and more intuitive, but there's definitely something that we could consider as well. Okay, good. I think it's also about time. Okay, thank you. So we are at the top of the hour. Thank you very much for your time for attending this webinar. Gail, do you have something to say to conclude?
I just say thank you very much, Alex, for the wonderful presentation. We do have some GrantForward videos on our web pages. And again, if you're interested in more instruction on how to use GrantForward, just reach out to us and we can give some one-on-one tips and tricks.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.